Ah, you made it to my kingdom, my domain. I am Dragon Door. Welcome to the garden. Come with me as we venture through these fertile lands and I show you everything the garden has to offer in October. But before we do that, I need something. Perhaps this cactus I animated many moons ago.
Here I am. I'm here.
Let us teleport to the front gates.
Oh man, looks like the spell didn't work again.
And we arrive at the gates, my friends. But wait, something's missing. Salute him.
Well, that hurt.
Guys, welcome to the Halloween garden tour episode here on Epic Homesteading. Jacques, Salutum erectorum, why don't you tell them who you are?
I'm Salutum erectorum. I am a potted cactus of a real variety. I have my pups and my full form here, and I'm actually ready to go.
Believe it or not, guys, that's a real variety. It's not just what you think we're doing right there.
Yeah, we're not making any puns or anything like that.
No, it's pure botany here. All right, Jacques, my friend, let's waltz over to the front here. It's fall, finally.
I'm ready for it.
As much as fall can be fall in San Diego. So what do we have going on in the front?
Actually, this bed right here is looking really beautiful. And it's strictly cabbages up front with business in the back is cauliflower.
Yes.
And it's looking really healthy, I must say.
It really is, and here's what I think we've done different this year. Last year, we had a very good brassica year, cabbages, broccoli, cauliflower, here at this house. Your house also as well,
Yeah.
but I had my biggest success.
Totally.
Now, what I think we did even better this year is we planted it even earlier.
Yeah.
So mid-end of October is more ideal in our climate to be planting these brassica crops. I think I want to say I did like maybe mid to late November last year.
Yeah, I'd say we're probably at least a month ahead. And the beauty behind this is that we're going to be able to make use of all those extra daylight hours of October, which means that some of these crops might even finish in like early spring, or by the time they're in spring, they'll be like really quite voluminous. You're gonna have some good cabbages.
You just get more, you accumulate more cool days.
Exactly.
It's really all that there is to it. So up in the tall 8-in-1, of course, some of this. Now over here, this is a bed I'm actually pretty excited about. So this, if you remember last year, we did this Lazy Man's beet bed, but this is beets in a raised bed, which I think will do quite well. They're sizing up nicely. And what we'll do is kind of the Charles Dowding multi-sown method where you sort of let them size up a bit and then you harvest them as they size and let one final one out of maybe a clump of 3 or so actually get to what you would call like a true beet size. At least that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, it's really fun to do that too, because then you get to harvest it like over time. So as the biggest one's ready, you pull that one, the other 2 or 3 or whatever, get to size up over time.
This works well with onions. This works well with, you could do it with radishes or turnips. Certainly with beets, it works really well.
Classic.
So any of these sort of bulbing root crop type plants, you can do this with. So this is just golden beets. It's not the row 7 badger flame beet.
That's right.
But
I think these are Golden Boy.
Golden Boy, which haven't tried it yet. We'll see how it goes.
And actually, if you guys don't like the taste of beets, like that weird flavor, the Golden Boy apparently has a lot less of that than usual. So it's a good one to try out.
Yeah, exactly. So here's sort of an enigma. And even my wizardry powers, I can't decipher exactly what's going on here. We have loofah.
Yeah.
You guys know we love loofah here, but we have a really weird thing happening. So this is a certain specific type of loofah. It's like the ridged variety, right?
Right.
And this guy, I would say, is probably a little, I could probably harvest this.
Yeah, it
probably
looks
harvest
like
it for the
it's
sponge.
pretty ready.
It's got that squeeze to it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's got a bounce
It's got
back.
a little bit of air in there, I think. But here's what's really interesting of you over here, Jacques.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I can't decipher exactly how this happened because it's guaranteed.
Is it the same plant?
It's not the same variety, that's for sure, right?
Oh, but they're on the same
But
stem.
it's on the same stem. And so I don't actually understand
Oh, that's weird.
what's happening. I'm guessing this might be a non-stable variety that has some reversion going on. But even then, why would it revert differently per flower?
That's so odd, because the color is different and the structure of it itself is different.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, honestly, why not just, this one's not gonna develop anymore.
Little baby loofah?
Yeah, let's just kind of see what's going on in here. You can start to see it's very fibrous, right?
Oh,
and
wow.
this is pre-harvest loofah where the fibers aren't really quite developed, but the seeds are actually really prominent. Look at that.
Actually, I was gonna say they look like they're ripe too. Like they're black, they're already wrinkled over a little bit.
They're a little hard. Yeah, I think
That's interesting.
I think what's happening is, loofah is a hot climate lover, long season hot climate lover, and it didn't get that this year. We planted it very late, maybe July.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's still produced, which is.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised we even got this many.
I'm a little shocked, but in a good way. Now over here, this is just the strawberry bed that we've talked about a bunch. The plan here, Jacques, is basically just to take off the dead growth.
Yep.
and let it sit. We're not gonna reset the strawberry bed in full this year. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's got a whole lot of runners, but I'll tell you what, I've never seen a bed produce that much fruit. Like the amount of actual food.
Incredible.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, ever-bearing varieties in San Diego in a climate like ours is gonna do really well. Of course, you know, June bearing probably in a colder climate.
Yeah.
Better recommendation for you, because then your strawberries are one and done. June into July-ish, big old berries, because the ever-bearing are smaller, of course. And you could do some jams and stuff to preserve it, but you know, it's worked really well.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a look at Dragon Alley?
Oh man, Dragon Alley has been quite the producer.
I would say I'm the most proud at the homestead probably of how Dragon Alley has shaped up.
Yeah.
Because this year we'll have gotten fruit off of every single variety.
That's true.
All 6. We're still waiting on one, I'll show you that in a second, but you know, these guys, this is the Ecuador Pelora, this is the yellow one. This fruit, according to Paul, who helps out here on the homestead, really big dragon fruit fan, it just takes a little longer for the Pelora, the yellow variety, to develop.
Yeah.
So it's maybe, I don't know, 70 plus days
from
fruit formation.
They've been there for a long time.
Normally dragon fruit's like 35 to 40 days from pollination to actual ripe fruit. And this is almost double that according to Paul. It's also a lot spikier. My guess is it just is a truly different variety that just has weird botany that requires it to go so long. I don't know.
Yeah, that is really interesting because I haven't noticed any of the other ones have spines quite like that. And actually, this is the one I believe you pollinated at night in that little short form piece where you vacuumed up a bunch of that pollen and were able to actually pollinate.
We used a Bissell handheld vacuum, a little bit of wizardry, a little bit of magic, and transferred pollen from one to another because although this is a self-pollinating variety, sometimes you can increase the efficacy by just cross-pollinating, guaranteeing that you get some pollen down and get the fruit going. So this has been really productive, Jacques. The one I'm really excited about, of course, is Trisha right here. Trisha is a dragon fruit that has this sort of, what Richard of Grafting Dragon Fruit would call like a sunscreen. So it sort of has this blocking capability here. This isn't a plant problem. This is a plant feature. So being lighter, of course, reflects more light and kind of gives it a bit of a sunscreen, which you'd think it's a cactus, it doesn't need it, but it's a tropical cactus. So in fact, it doesn't want to be blasted, especially by like our coastal style sun all the time.
It does look actually really healthy, and like the plant itself has much thicker sort of members.
Yeah. And you know that as Salutum erectorum, you know all about a thick member.
I'm all about that.
So over here is the dragon fruit, the Trisha dragon fruit. Now what I'll say is it doesn't really look quite like some Trishas I've seen in the past, but it does have the classic feature of having this more black tip.
Okay.
So there's definitely some pest issues, but also that is a feature of it.
Okay.
You get a more tan flesh or outer skin, and then you get a darker tip, and it kind of almost looks like a true dragon's egg.
Oh, wow.
And then it's beautiful, beautiful flavor. So it's incredible.
How do you know when this is ready?
This guy's a squeezer. So most dragon fruit, first of all, one really good tip that I learned from Paul and from Richard is dragon fruit's just a very thick stem, as you mentioned. You can actually take a little Artline garden marker and just write the day that it bloomed. And then you know, okay, well, hey, has it been about 40 days? I should be looking for it to be ripe at this point in time. And then you give it a nice squeeze, and if it has some give, you can clip it off and you're fine. This isn't there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So what about this one? Because to me, at least color-wise, it looks like it's ready to eat.
As a resident, you know, bulbous object owner, why don't you give it a squeeze and see?
Do a little test here. I'd say it's soft, but I'm not sure what I'm looking for here.
Let me see.
It's got a little bit of give.
I would say we're right about there because you can squeeze it.
Yeah.
And the color's nice and red. So we don't have the knife right now, but to harvest it, what you'd do is you'd make an incision there and kind of do like a pyramid cut to get it out. So each of these little spikes here has the capacity to produce a bulb. So you're just removing that one, and the rest of them can come out.
So you're cutting the part of the cactus itself, not the fruit.
A tiny little bit of the cactus out, because they don't store great, right?
Right.
So if you puncture the skin, you're not in a good spot if you want to savor it. Now I will say the real way, the wizard's way to enjoy this is to cut it, put it in the fridge for an hour, cut it in half, chill it, eat it, and then you're good to go. But if you just want to harvest it at the right time, because dragon fruit does not ripen off the plant. So you have to harvest it at the perfect time, and then you're good to go. But with that said, we have some interesting things going on in the orchard. So Jacques, here we've been blessed by the forest nymphs, some amazing flowers starting to form on one of our favorite fruits.
The loquat.
The loquat.
It's looking absolutely loaded everywhere you look. And I think we discovered this is two different varieties because they taste a little bit different.
They're a little different in both size and flavor and even the color of the flesh or the skin. And so we've talked about this a million times, guys, but you really do have to know when you're growing a fruit tree how important it is to understand the fruiting and flowering windows, because this plant breaks the mold and it flowers in right now. It's October. So it's putting out flowers. You can see some of them are opening up. I've seen a ton of bees here.
Yeah.
And so of course, if I did a prune like you would with other plants, you would literally cut off next year's growth. You would have 0 loquat the next year, and that'd be devastating because it's a delicious fruit.
It is
so
quite delicious.
Just kind of speaks to knowing the plant. Not too much going on over here in the orchard, but we do have this pomegranate we identified last time that I think it might be time, Jacques.
Ooh.
You want to do the honors here?
So it's got the faceting a little bit. It's
a little bit.
Pretty good.
It's as good as I think it's going to get for the size and the time of year. Yeah, exactly. So if you've got a knife, I'd say chop this bad boy.
Let's chop it. Sorry, my erectorium here is a little bit in the way.
All right.
Ooh.
We'll harvest this at the end. Whoa. We're back in the backyard at the rainwater capture system, which is flush, Jacques. It's absolutely full.
To the brim?
To the brim, and it is overflowing, which is good because that means that some of the water actually goes through the overflow we planned for this and goes out into the orchard. So there's no problems there. But what I'm really trying to do, Jacques, is, look, I don't even mind the look of this, to be honest with you, but why not cover this with one of the easiest crops to grow in our climate, passion fruit, which you have a ton of experience with.
Yeah, passion fruit is incredible because basically once you get it established, you don't really have to do anything else. Here in San Diego, I barely even water mine, and it's grown like 50 feet in multiple directions, covered in fruit. And the really nice thing about the way you set this up is that it's going to probably shade your water tank really nice, and that's going to help keep the water temps down, keep the water just better in general, and make it easier to water the plants.
Yeah, and then this backdrop against the pond, all of a sudden you have this beautiful backdrop that is covered by lush, vibrant, fruit-producing vines.
Yeah.
And something I'm really excited about, Jacques, is number one, this one plant for sure is enough to cover this entire area. But the way that we built this is just T-posts that were hammered into the ground and some a little more heavy duty like vinyl wrapped chicken wire that's kind of wrapped around in a semicircle. But what I could do is in a future world, I could actually put some T-posts on the other side and have netting go over the top, and it could actually fully shade if I ever wanted to. I think it'll be about a season before that's even a discussion.
Yeah, but then it'll look totally hidden. It's
exactly.
Look really cool.
You'll never know it was even there. So that's what's going on here. The pond itself is still looking amazing, but I have to say, Jacques, we have neglected landscaping around this pond. So it's been a little bit of time. I expect us to get some of that done this fall. And if you have any suggestions for things you guys would like to see, I'm all ears because I'm mostly a vegetable grower, guys. I am not a great landscaper, at least yet. So I'd love some suggestions there. But why don't we go on and take a look at the corn patch?
Yeah, let's go.
So over here, we tried to do a corn maze, as you guys remember. I will say it's a little bit of a maze, but certainly pretty easy to get yourself out of it. But Jacques, take a look. I mean, what do we have here? This should be Bloody Butcher.
I think this is Bloody Butcher. The
color's incredible on this. We did get a lot of cornworm activity. This is starting to dry up a little bit. So you can see up here, you see this sort of white sort of slop, and then the tops are eaten. This is all cornworm, which one of the best ways to get rid of this, and I don't know if you've heard of this, Jacques, I just recently heard from one of you guys, is dripping mineral oil on the silks post-pollination so that they kind of are forced out of the top. I mean, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So right now, these are making their way into the chicken coop on that little eye hook. So it's a great way to feed them some extra little nutrients and something to mix up their diet. But this is gonna come down pretty soon because what we're gonna do is chop it, drop it, we'll spread this compost pile you see at our feet over this area, and we very well might do a little bit of an epic course. We might be showing you guys exactly how to start a garden from scratch in a very extensive way. So when you follow the course, you cannot go wrong. And speaking of, let's go over to seed starting, Jacques, because we've gone wrong with this a couple times this year, and I want to share that we have some pretty good success.
Yeah.
Jacques and I have different seed starting methodologies. They're not that different, but there's certainly some differences. So let's slide on over here, Jacques, and let's just take a look at what's going on in the fall garden this year, at least over here at the homestead.
So you have like Chinese cabbages, got a lot of onions, something, I think these are broccolis, more cabbages.
Of course, it's a lot of the brassicas, but yeah, I'll call your attention to this, guys. The onions, this year we're sort of doing, again, homage to Charles Dowding, this sort of multi-sow method, which I did last year with the leeks.
Yeah, that's right.
Where I just started a ton of leeks, and then I just split them out very delicately. And, you know, for example, this is probably about 10 onions here. and I'll let these size a little bit more so that I think when I split them, they're not as sensitive.
Yeah.
And then I'll just boom, and then put them in the soil, much like we did last year, and I should see some pretty good growth here. Better than the sets, which I planted last year here. And I'm honestly, in my climate perhaps, I'm not really big fan of the sets. I think it's a very difficult plant for me to pull off. It tends to not really form a beautiful bulb. It tends to sometimes go to flower. I'm just gonna go onions from seed.
Everything that I've read and heard from other people is that when you grow it from seeds, they tend to do better. There is like one more alternative, which are like the transplants, which are basically little seedlings, but they've been let to grow to like a pencil thickness.
Exactly.
So you pop them in the ground and they're off and you're good to go.
Exactly. So it's your classic fall crops, guys. And as Jacques said, there's about 8 beds behind us that honestly need a little bit of these. So we'll be planting them pretty soon. And we're back here in the berry area, which I have to say, Jacques, it's been a little disappointing.
Yeah, a little bit.
So it's raspberries closer to me over here and then blackberries over this way. And yes, we planted them at the not ideal time of year for sure. But the problem with the raspberries, I honestly don't know. I'm guessing maybe too much water.
Yeah, that's kind of the initial thought, right? Because the blackberries actually, overall, like they look quite good. They've grown a lot. They need a little bit of help supporting, but.
Yeah, and this is, honestly, dude, this is what you want to see. You actually want to see the canes coming up, falling down and starting to split out, and that's where you're going to have easy access to picking your blackberries. Just the raspberries haven't really been following along, but we'll do some troubleshooting there. More to come. Garlic, we planted a little bit ago. That's coming up. But Jacques, I think the biggest boon to the Epic Homestead has been the compost bin.
This is where the magic is, and this is where you get to reclaim all the nutrients that you just pulled out of the ground.
Exactly, and as you can see, guys, there's a lot of nutrients that we've been pulling out of the ground. So all the tomatoes, all the old compost pile. The one thing that's happening is we have so much in here right now, it's become a little difficult to turn the pile.
Right.
And we actually use the last 2 bins over there as more material storage. So there's compost in one, and there's potting mix in another. So we don't have a lot of opportunity to kind of mix this up right now, but we'll figure it out. As you can see, like this is not the ideal material size to be throwing in the top here, but we're working on it. And the temperature is a little below 100 Fahrenheit, which again is just barely in the active range, just barely in the active range.
This could be like a cold process, so it'll just take a little bit longer, but once it shrinks down and we can start turning it, it'll really start kicking up, I think.
Exactly. I mean, the last thing, and you've experienced this, is we have that broody hen. So Butter's still a little broody girl.
Dirty little butterball.
Yeah, she is, and I guarantee we're gonna see her little booty right there. Yep. I wish I had a spell for this, but unfortunately I do not. So she's just been hanging out there, but we did do an experiment with the chickens, guys. We've learned that you can actually force them to do some free labor for you in a way that's very in tune with the season. So what we did is we had a chicken carving contest where all I did was scrape away some areas, and then as soon as they scraped it away, they went ahead and ate it. And they didn't do the best job, I have to say, but they did a job, and that's all that matters. With the chickens, a lot of the projects coming up is mostly going to be building an outdoor run area in this zone, which I'm going to need your expertise for, Jacques. But guys, the wizard of the fertile lands and Salutum Erectorum wish you a happy Halloween. And wait, where's my staff? There we go. And until next time, good luck in the garden and keep on growing.
Forgot me again.
The wizard of the fertile lands, Jacques, has been turned into Salutum. So my name is Dragonius Dadius of the Fertile Crescent. What are wizard names, dude? And then I'll go, boom.